In a world where Carolina Panthers fans have an insatiable thirst for Panthers news and opinions, only one podcast roars ferociously. It's the C3 Panthers Podcast.
Yo, what's the deal, Panther fans? It's your boy, Tony Dunn, a.k.a. The Professor. It's the C3 Panthers Podcast. We're bringing you extra content during free agency, guys. The podcast is 9 p.m. live Tuesday nights, but we got to get to know these free agency pickups. And the Panthers added a few on defense yesterday. All of a sudden, it really seems like the second phase of the Panthers' defensive rebuilds has set in. While it may even be a little temporary with Hassan Reddick being a one-year deal, I still think there could be legs on that for the future when the cap expands. But Denzel Perryman is going to be the subject of tonight's show. So we're going to get to know him, what he's capable of, what some of those limitations are. And we're going to do that with Kevin and Craig from the Charger Chat podcast. What's up, Kevin, man? Good to see you again.
Good to see you too. Thank you for having us back on.
Really appreciate it, man. Thanks for having us.
Welcome, Craig. Last year we talked right before the Carolina Panthers, Kevin and I did, with the Carolina Panthers went west to play the LA Chargers. And, you know, is that the Chargers were probably thought to be a much better team at that time. And I believe this, Kevin, if you might be able to remember this more clearly than I can. Wasn't that the week that Tyrod Taylor got his lung poked?
I think, wasn't it week 2? I think it was like maybe our third week where it was like we were so high, everything was going really well, we were pumped, we were ready to play, and then we had our conversation, and we were kind of bragging a little bit, a little pumped up, and you were like, you guys are probably going to beat us, and then you beat us, and then we just kept losing, and that's kind of how it went.
That may have been Justin Herbert's first or second game at that point. I mean, it was close.
You got some fresh Herbert for sure.
Yeah, and we've gushed about Justin Herbert on this podcast. So, all right, you guys, I brought you on because as all these free agency moves unfold, and I know you guys are watching it for your team, you're watching people leave, you're watching people come. You guys got Jared Cook today, right? Or yesterday? That was the last news.
We're cooking, and our guy Craig has a little insight on our boy Cook now.
Okay, all right. So as all these players move around the NFL, and I cover or follow the Carolina Panthers very closely, right? For the last 8 years, we've been doing this weekly podcast, like all my Twitter, right? And I watch it. And I tell you, every year I'm reminded during free agency how few people I actually know. Is that like, and you're like, oh, I got to go look up this guy that we got David Moore. We just signed David Moore today. And they were like, oh, that's the guy that burnt corn in that game a long time. So we just go to the source and try to figure out this. The Carolina Panthers really underwent a defensive rebuild last year. We had 7 defensive picks, I think 6 or 7 defensive picks. It's only like the second time in history that a team had done all defense in the draft. We tried to get younger and faster from being kind of old and slow the year before. And there was some bumps and bruises in the beginning, but we started to get better as time went on. One of the weaknesses, though, and it was clear and apparent from the beginning, was Tahir Whitehead was a total bum. We brought him in on a 1-year deal to play middle linebacker. Luke Kuechly had retired the year before unexpectedly. And the Panthers were sort of unprepared for this. And we realized that Tahir Whitehead was making our team worse. In fact, when they benched him, we got better. So the new GM and Matt Rhule make a concerted effort this year to really shore up this linebacking group. And it seems like Denzel Perryman is the guy that they really believe can help with that. So just speak a little bit about what you think about the acquisition and Denzel Perryman in general.
Why don't you kick it off, Craig?
Yeah, sure, man. Started off first and foremost, I'm a Miami Hurricanes fan, so I was elated when we drafted Perryman. Kind of give you like the Ray Lewis vibes. He wore 52 the whole 9. Of course, it was just like the next generation of great linebacker at the U. So when we got him, I was all amped about it. Some of course, what he does well lends itself to being, I guess, what everyone would call a thumper. Kind of in the box guys coming downhill. He's shooting gaps. He's blowing guys up. He sets the tone. I mean, we're talking about a guy with bad intentions. Somebody's probably going to get knocked out at some point during the game if Denzel Perryman plays, 70+% of the snaps. Somebody's going to get hurt, probably. You don't wish that on anyone.
Maybe even himself.
Yeah,
maybe even himself.
I mean, look, the dude took on 6'7", 350-pound Mekhi Becton.
On his ass.
Like, just smoked him. And I mean, talking about a dude that's 8 inches taller, over 100 pounds heavier. So, like, the dude, he's insane. But generally, kind of the role that he played with us is what I spoke to. He had an injury history, and that kind of, derailed his career with the Chargers. But, again, he was kind of the emotional leader on defense. Even when he wasn't playing, he's a guy who hypes up everybody on the sidelines. He's a great locker room dude. But as far as like deficiencies, he's not the best in coverage. Although he played much better in coverage this past year. I think he was actually rated the highest in coverage amongst all our linebackers, which is saying a lot. So he showed some definite improvement there. But as far as, having him defend tight ends up the seam, running backs out of the backfield, that's not really his game. But if you want somebody's head blown off and you want to, make some stops behind the LOS and keep teams behind on down and distance early in downs, that's your guy.
All right. Well, I mean, like, that's kind of what we're looking for at this point, is that the run game was the deficiency with Tahir Whitehead. I mean, not that he could do cut pass coverage anyway. He couldn't do that either. But it just really, you just kind of find out, man, when the center of the field is weak, and when it comes to your D tackles and then up the middle and the linebacker, man, people just run all over you. And I know that people don't in the NFL don't believe that that's super important anymore. But, man, when a team steamrolls you each and every week, that defense gets tired. So hopefully that will bring a little aggression, a little alpha male to the team. Kevin, one of the things I've noticed, though, is that actually, maybe I'll put it this way, is that just a background is that we had John Beeson and Thomas Davis at one point. We had Dan Morgan, Will Witherspoon. We had Luke Kuechly and Thomas Davis, and like these guys just consistently put up 100 tackles a year, like no problem. Like they do 100 tackles in a season in their sleep. The most that Perryman's had was 60, in his rookie year, I think. Yeah, something like that. And it's gone down, but his PFF grades have gone up. So just tell me about how he's developing as a player, and does he have room for growth still?
Well, for me, like, just to go back a little bit, like, for me, the biggest thing with Perryman is, like, out of all of the guys that walked this year, he was the heartbreaker for me. Like, I really wanted to bring him back. He, like Craig said, he's like the heart of the team. He made one hit. Our last game of the season, Kansas City, I think there was like a little screen thrown out. He lit this guy up so hard, man. You could see the entire sideline explode. Like, the energy was unreal. I think he got kind of screwed the last couple of years in terms of like what happened with him with bringing in Kenneth Murray, Drew Tranquil kind of stepping up. Some of our linebackers really kind of excelling and also being good in coverage. And he didn't really, like Craig said, didn't really excel there. So I think, they're definitely, running downs, you have a great linebacker. And I think there is, he has room for improvement if he's on the field more. Like, he did not see the field that much the last couple of years. So, if he can stay healthy, that's the big thing. Is he, is
that what it's been? Has it been injury? Has it been injury, or has it been a combination of injury and players that they are trying to get more reps to?
I think it's the lethal combo. I think it was the perfect storm of him not getting a lot of opportunities and then also getting dinged up because he plays like a kamikaze. So I think if you get him in the right situation, you keep him healthy, you get him in the right, get him in those right situations. Like, I'm kind of a Panther fan now because he was, I have right there behind my shoulder is a signed Perryman jersey. Like, he's my boy. Like, I love that guy. I'm a linebacker guy. So like, I was really bummed when we lost him. And when you reached out to like do it, I was like, you know what? Of any of the players that got released, I wouldn't want to talk about him really, but this guy, I'm like, I love him. So I'm following him on Twitter, Instagram. I'm not unfollowing him. He's still my guy.
Absolutely. Yeah, just to piggyback, just real quick, and kind of speak to what Kevin was talking about in regards to the injury kind of being the combo. I mean, I think he played like 69 out of a possible 96 games. So, I mean, he was down a bunch. And when he played kind of nicked up also. So I don't think we ever got to see the best of him at any given point in time consistently.
Yeah, is that this is from Charlotte Observer. They wrote he has never played a full 16-game season, having dealt with a variety of injuries throughout his career. Staying on the field will be one of the biggest question marks for Perryman, who has never played 500 snaps in a season. In 2019, he signed a 2-year deal, $12 million extension with the Chargers, but elected to explore free agency. So he's coming off of I don't know. It depends on this. I feel like every article I read, sometimes they say it's his best statistical year. Sometimes they say it's his worst statistical year. This shows you that when maybe it was it Mark Twain that said there's stats, damn stats, and lies, or something like that. Anyway, is that you can interpret the numbers however you will, but the durability is a real question here. And because I don't think the Carolina Panthers are bringing him in to be a role player, right? As I think they're investing with him and Shaq and maybe Jermaine Carter Jr., who is still trying to get paid on his own right here. So, they're trying to build a unit that's going to play week in, week out. And they're really putting together some cool pieces. Hassan Reddick, Brian Burns, Derek Brown his second year. So if this guy can stay healthy and play like that kind of mean, almost like Thomas Davis used to play for a while, is that could be helpful. Now, what type of injuries has he dealt with? And is he injury prone, or is this just typical NFL? I mean, like, first of all, everybody is getting injured in the NFL. That's not an issue. But, like, where are your concerns? How big is this injury concern, I guess I should say?
I think it's, like, more soft tissue stuff that he's dealt with. I mean,
right.
You've seen
not like a blown out knee or a shoulder or something like that.
Not necessarily like the major stuff, not like what you typically see from Chargers players. All our best players have a tendency to have some sort of heartbreaking injury or lacerated spleen, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Typically nothing along those lines. It's a lot of like soft tissue stuff. But I mean, if you ever seen the dude like without a shirt on, he's freaking like he's a ball of muscle. He's freaking compact and really tightly wound. So I think, this is a little bit of like my background in being a personal trainer. So forgive me if this comes out every once in a while. So I think his flexibility is a bit of an issue. And that's what lends to a lot of the injuries that he has. He's really, like I said, short, stocky, and muscular. Typically, that doesn't lend very well to being super agile. And, if you're somewhat of a twitchy guy and you're that size, you'll pop muscles, pull them all the time if you're not super flexible. So personally, I think the dude needs to invest in some yoga classes. That's just me.
I hear you. No, I mean, those are all that's an interesting thing. I've lost like 12 pounds in the last 5 or 6 weeks. I've been just trying to get back. I'm about to turn 40 and I was giving up. So I'm not giving up anymore.
Nice.
Keep the fight up, man.
And, but I've been doing this, and I tell you this: the hardest things I've been feeling is like my hips. It's like when we do these hip flexor stuff. Oh my God! Like, so I guess, and I am not flexible. What's the sideline to sideline speed like?
And break their hip, like the hip's the thing. So you gotta keep that thing flexible, bro. Keep it flexible.
Yeah, I hear you. I'm not flexible. I am like Denzel Perryman, except for not an NFL athlete. So I could invest in some damn yoga classes myself. But what's his sideline to sideline speed? We've been spoiled by that. It's just guys be able to react and play. Is he that type of player where he can, if you surround him with some good players, particularly, it's like we saw this, is like the best years that Luke Kuechly and Thomas Davis ever had. They had a strong front four, and they just let these dudes cook. Like they just didn't. It was just like go out there and you play it. You see the run, like you do your thing. And these guys played instinctually. Is he capable of doing that, or is this guy just going to be kind of a decent fit but not a great fit?
I think you're probably like for him, he's not the fastest of linebackers, but I think in terms of like shedding blocks and making tackles, it doesn't get really much better than what he's capable of doing. He's so strong. He's low center of gravity. He sheds stuff like Mekhi Becton, the big boy tackle, put him on his butt, made the tackle. Like that's his style. So I think you're looking, your best stuff from him is going to be tackle to tackle, shedding, making reads. And he's, very instinctive player. Like he seems to always be in the right place, unless he's dropping into coverage. That doesn't always work out for him.
And then he's chasing. Then he's chasing. Poor guy.
So
chasing.
rundowns, and then just it's like that risk to reward ratio with the injury stuff. It's like there's a risky situation with him being injured, but the reward of him putting people down and really just getting your team fired up and momentum swings, like you can't, there's no analytics for that. There's no like stat sheet for like my guys are more pumped up because I made a tackle. So I think that's kind of where it lands with him.
The funny thing about that is like, if you keep him clean, which is what you need to do, if you keep him clean, he looks faster than what he is when he trusts his eyes. Anytime he sees anything or he feels it coming, he shoots it and he looks like he's being shot out of a cannon. Like those hits that you see where he stops guys behind the line of scrimmage and he's shooting gaps, he looks extremely fast. I'm not saying that, he can't move. He can. It's just he's not a guy who's going to, like I said, chase anybody down from behind.
Sure.
He catch guys sideline to sideline. But again, if he sees it and he trusts it and you keep him clean, then like literally he's looks like a little freaking Speedy Gonzalez in the middle of the field, just bouncing around from side to side. So just keep him clean and you're fine.
All right, catch me up on the Chargers, guys, real quick. Is in the last couple of minutes is what's going on with the Chargers and free agency so far.
It's a wholesale. We're getting rid of a lot of people, man. We're gonna have a new roster, but the big thing they've done, I think a lot of people have seen, is his offensive line. Our boy Herbert, we need to protect him. He's our golden child right now. So they made some big moves, and Lindsley from the Packers and Filer from the Steelers. So, they're building the line. The drafting's interesting. We just picked up Cook. Like, there's just a lot of cool stuff about to happen. I think
he's old though, man. You can't only be so excited about Jared Cook.
And there's not a lot of excitement.
Maybe he's timeless. Maybe he's kind of timeless. Maybe he doesn't age. I'm the
shamelessly positive guy. Whoever we get, I'm going to find a reason to like him. Craig has a little more history with him because he's got some New Orleans ties. Craig, don't do him dirty. But what do you think about him?
Okay, I told you I'm trying. So I'm doing my best to be as positive about this as possible. I'm getting flamed up on Twitter for some of my takes, but look, I'm a realist. Here's the thing. So as Kevin mentioned, I'm a little bit of a black sheep. I'm the one, I'll say about 90% of my family are Saints fans. So I'm from Louisiana. And of course, me being a Chargers fan, I catch the games when I can. But the majority of the time on Sundays, I have to split time between Saints and Chargers games. So I watched a lot of Cook. And here's the thing about the guy. He doesn't lack for athleticism. He's still pretty decent athlete for his age. The problem is, and this is like one of my favorite sayings, like he's a bit of a gump. He has a tendency to do some of the silliest things at the worst times. And
that's what you mean by Gump.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Like Forrest Gump. Yeah.
Oh, shit.
So it's like he has complete brain farts during games. And it's almost like, dude, do you remember that you play football? Like, I'm not sure what that decision was, why you decided to switch the ball over to your left hand in the middle of traffic to allow somebody to punch it out. Like, there are actually guys attempting to tackle you. That's just not a great football decision. But, I mean, look, enough of bashing the guy. He's going to serve a purpose. It's a one-year deal. I think our number 2 tight end right now is Donald Parham, 6'8", dude, 240 pounds. I think with, Frank Smith coming over from the Raiders, who had a huge hand in developing Darren Waller, I think he would work wonders for Parham. And there's an opportunity to draft a young tight end in the draft and develop him maybe in like the 3rd round or later or something like that. But the Jared Cook situation, I'm coping with it. Hopefully we find a way to possibly, integrate him into the offense to where he plays a pretty decent part. I do think the goal was to get a more athletic tight end and not spend a ton on him, and they accomplished that. Let's just hope the dude plays with his brain on Sundays. That's it.
All right, what else have you guys done? I don't feel happy for you about Justin Herbert. Like, I can't feel happy for you guys because we're sitting there at 8 waiting for him right there. My boy Cody, who was a giant Justin Herbert fan coming into that draft while no one else was really on him. And he was like, dude, look at this. He's finding pictures of Marty Herney with him and grinning. He was like, come on. And then you guys picked him right in front of us. And then he turned out and balled. So can only be so happy for you. It is nice to have a quarterback, isn't it?
Oh, so refreshing. It's the same thing with like we get it all the time from Miami fans. Like they're even in the worst situation where they picked the wrong guy and they're mad at us for picking the wrong guy.
I was all on Tua that year too, so I was wrong.
I'm not gonna lie, I was a pinch too. I've got to be honest, but yeah, it's fun. It's having a quarterback that that's what you need in the NFL. Like the new NFL, you need a quarterback. So we have one, and he's exciting, and he's brought. The big joke is that we can't fill a stadium. We don't have a great fan base. Like I wish you could see the people coming out of woodworks now, or former fans or new fans. Like Herbert's bringing them. So I think stadium situation is gonna be a little different when people show up.
So last year we swapped players. We swapped players.
You want to do this? Do you want to?
Not
do
really.
This?
I'm not trying to make fun of it. I want to see like why you guys
hot
can only
garbage.
Be so mad.
Hot garbage, dude.
Okay, really? That bad? It was that bad.
We watched a lot of my brother specifically on our podcast had a fascination with his laziness and his lack of effort and his just penalties.
Really?
It's just dumb thing. There's a reason why he got cut. It was so underwhelming. I thought we were getting the stud. I thought you guys were the suckers for taking Okung and we were going to get him. And boy, do we have pie in our face. And it's such a bummer. It's such a bummer.
Well, you guys paid a lot. I get, he got paid a lot of money for a while. You know what I'm saying? Like he got his big money like 3 years ago. So this was the last year of the deal that you were shedding, I think, with that 11 million. Yeah. Russell Okung struggled with injuries for us. He wasn't great. Wasn't awful. Like it's probably better than what we've had for a while. We've had our best tackles really in the last decade. Two of those names are Russell Okung and Michael Orr. There's only so that sucks type thing. And dude, if I told you some of the other names that are on that list, you would really say that suck. Like Byron Bell or Matt Khalil, the worst. Matt Khalil is the worst football player in the history of football. I really think it. But my favorite thing about Russell Okung is that he got paid in Bitcoin.
Bitcoin, dude, that guy made so much money last year on that Bitcoin trade.
He got it paid in December, and it's almost tripled since then.
What a genius.
Smart man.
And he negotiated his own contract with you guys back in 2017.
What agent's gonna let him do Bitcoin? Like seriously, like that he's going in there by himself.
I tell you this is now all the agents are gonna be trying to do that Bitcoin or something now.
Yeah. But just a couple. Just throw a couple Bitcoins on top of
50-50. Just half cash, half Bitcoin or something. Yeah. But we signed Matt Khalil that year and you guys signed Russell Okung. I always hate this though when we get a player that's like I wanted him 3 years ago. So I wanted Okung 3 years ago, not last year. So y'all's offensive line, it sounds like you're pumped about it last year. What happened other than Trey Turner?
Go ahead, Craig.
Oh gosh. Okay. The typical Chargers thing. Injuries. Guys go down. Like literally every year it's the same thing. For a little while I didn't know if we were playing on top of like Indian burial ground or something like that. I don't know. Like I don't know what the problem is.
You moved and you're still getting injured.
It's guys will come to our team who've never had injury history before, and suddenly it's like they can't get out of training camp without something going terribly wrong. And again, it's like I said before, it's never really like the I tweaked an ankle or something variety. It's always something that keeps them out for weeks on end. And when they come back, they're not what they were supposed to be. We were all pumped about the O-line. Well, at least the right side of it coming into this year.
Things to be excited about.
Yeah. I mean, Brian Bulaga, Iowa. We were super amped about him. And of course we thought we got over on you guys with the Trey Turner trade that, I said I wasn't going to say his name anymore. So that's the way it panned out, the same way everything else does. Guys went down. You've had multiple guys have to switch positions. You have, I'm trying to be positive. You don't actually have the depth behind those guys to come in and pick up the slack. That just comes from poor team building in certain areas. That's a whole different conversation.
We had a couple XFL guys. If you
yeah. But hey, Storm Norton is a hell of a name for a dude for the Chargers. I'm sorry.
Totally. Yeah.
I love that. And he didn't play bad. He didn't play poorly. He didn't play poorly when he got in. But I mean, you got projects in the third round, like Trey Pipkins. That's what happened to our offensive line. Essentially injuries and poor quality of depth behind the guys that got hurt.
What did y'all think about that Vincent Jackson story?
That was awful, man. You don't
like
hear that.
Crazy, dude. Isn't he's like my I'm 39. I think he was 37, 38 or something.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Dude. Chargers
I don't know if I never heard any details other than that they were, he had been struggling with alcoholism. I think I heard one thing, and then but I don't know if they were investigating, but to hear a guy that got paid, that homie got paid by Tampa, right? Wasn't it Tampa that gave him the big money?
Yeah.
And like to go out in a Holiday Inn, poor guy. All right. Well, guys, look, I was listening to your podcast today, and you guys said y'all were like, don't ever mention Trey Turner. So I couldn't help but ask it. But still, tell me what you guys are doing. I know you guys got this cool ass intro on your podcast on YouTube. You need to go. I'm telling y'all, I'm gonna encourage y'all to go to live and start doing video and audio at the same time.
We're working on we're building it, man. It's like, it's been a hobby for the last 2.5 years, and in the last 6-8 months it's really picked up, and a lot of people are watching and listening, so it's given us
thank you, Justin Herbert.
Thanks, Herbo, for sure. So it's it's easy because I'm a filmmaker. That's what I do for a living. So like I can just sit here and whip up stuff, and then Craig's like
great. That shit looked great, bro.
And then Craig's like, he's like our on-field reporter. We got our 3 guys, and then Craig comes in every episode with his take. So we're just trying. Our goal is to get all the community, all the Chargers involved, and bring everybody together. And we're kind of doing that. And then the live thing, that is the next step. We were trying to. Yeah, we'll get there. We're gonna get video and do some live stuff for sure.
Yeah,
I'm gonna kill all this crap about us not having fans, man.
Yeah.
I see somebody new on Twitter every day. The community is growing, man. So I don't know if it's. I mean, I'm sure it's a lot of new fans. I literally just saw a guy on Twitter today renouncing his fanship of the Chicago Bears, and he's jumping on board with the Chargers. So I mean, they're coming in, and we've got the people who maybe left when they relocated that are loving Herbert and coming back. Like,
it's a little left out. A little bit.
Yeah, I mean, so it's cool. And I said, in a little while, dude, we're gonna be trendy. That's gonna suck because I don't really like the way that feels. But look, we'll take the fans.
We're in LA, baby. We're in LA, right?
Yeah, you're already trendy. All right, tell us, Craig, where they can find your work at, man.
Yeah, man. So right now, my main platform is going to be on Twitter. I should be a lot better about Instagram, but especially since I'm
only Twitter myself, bro.
Yeah, I got off of Instagram a while ago. My wife gives me the blues about it all the time. We have kids, and I never post pictures. It's just, I don't know. I'm not big on Instagram, but over at Twitter, so it's top_flight. That's spelled FLYT and the number 3 at Twitter.
Top_flight FLYT and then 3. All right. And Kevin, how can they find your work?
Come find us, Charger Chat Pod on Twitter. We're Charger Chat Podcast on Instagram, and then we got YouTube. If you want to go check us out, we got some. We don't just do our podcast; we do like fake commercials and stuff for each episode. So it gets kind of fun over there on YouTube. So come check us out if you got some time. And if you got questions on Denzel Perryman, hit us up because I love the guy and I'm so happy for you guys. He's a great player.
All right, this is the C3 Panthers podcast. My name is Tony Dunn. This was a little impromptu or special during free agency. We're going to pump out extra content on Denzel Perryman. We're live Tuesday nights, 9 p.m. You can follow me on Twitter at @cat_chronicle. Don't forget to call into the show. Leave a voicemail, 252-228-5098. And check out that Discord channel we're trying to build. A lot of people are going crazy on that. And you can find the information for that in the show notes. And until then, next we got to do David Moore stuff probably tomorrow we got the Panthers. Maybe we'll catch up with a Cardinals reporter and find a little Hassan Reddick information. So keep checking out the C3 Panthers podcast, and till next time, keep pounding.